Tonight, on the world's most amazing videos, a daring 7-man bungee jump hits a deadly snag, forcing one man to take desperate action. Then, sparks fly when renegade felons stage a reckless run from the law.
Oh no!
Plus, a wannabe storm chaser drives too close to the action and finds himself trapped in the eye of a killer tornado.
Oh, there's a house! Oh my gosh!
And female cyclists speed around the track until a crash triggers a horrifying chain reaction. Later, a man tries to ignite a barrel full of gasoline and sets his head on fire. These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
The New River Gorge Bridge, West Virginia.
I could see the river 800 feet below me.
Here we go!
Daredevils thrilled the crowd gathered for Bridge Day, an annual celebration of the world's longest arch bridge. But what the crowd is really here to see is a record-breaking bungee jump. For more than a year, engineers have been planning this 800-foot 7-man jump. Rick Miner is one of the 7.
Of course our lives are in danger, but there's more to it. It's about facing your greatest fear, which for most humans is the fear of height.
But suddenly, it's a new terror. The basket's release line is wrapped around Dan Reisinger's waist.
What's happened? Yeah, let's go.
Slicing him in half.
When we cut our first rope, we had a piece of rigging slide, and that's what caught Dan. It grabbed the skin and separated some of the skin from his abdominal wall.
What's happened?
Dan's being cut by the full weight of 7 people.
Pull the pin. You want to go? Yeah, let's go.
Rick tries pulling the pin to release the bungee.
Gotta go, pull it. Come on.
We decided it was faster to get him below by continuing with the jump.
It doesn't work.
Was that knife, Chris?
Here.
The rope cuts deeper.
No time to think. Sometimes it's just react.
Cut the rope. Cut the rope up there quickly.
Get the wait.
Rick pulls out a knife and frantically slices the rope.
There, Rick. 2, 3.
There's not much time. And no time to close the knife if it works.
Someone said to me, just throw it away. And I thought about that for a beat. I said, that's not an option because there's hundreds of people below.
He cuts through. Somehow, Rick closes the knife while the team plunges. The 7-man bungee is a record breaker, but not without a price. Dan suffers severe stomach lacerations, and all the jumpers have a new reason to be afraid of heights.
It was pretty intense, pretty intense. It was just a very scary moment for all of us.
Right there.
Cut the rope. Cut the rope up there.
Lake Elsinore, California. A half-dozen highway patrol cars chase a stolen pickup truck. Inside, 2 armed suspects. The renegades hit speeds of nearly 100 miles an hour.
He's not going anywhere. Not with that army following him.
Police have blown out the 2 right tires with a spike strip. But the chase rages on. The truck is unsteady as the rims wear away on the asphalt.
Uh-oh, this is stupid. He's gonna try to go off-road.
The truck flies out of control. After a 60-foot drop and 4 barrel rolls, the passenger is hurled out, then smashed beneath the truck. Incredibly, the driver makes it out and tries to get away on foot. Police go after him. Minutes later, he's in custody.
Well, that's that. They got both of them.
Beatrice, Nebraska. Professional storm chasers have a giant tornado in their sights. What they can't see is that an amateur storm chaser has driven his truck right into the twister's path.
Rain, man, we're in a bad spot here. Take off your line.
Randy Hicks and his friend Lisa have no idea of the danger that awaits them.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
Look at that piece of debris! I've seen the piece of debris fly by about 40 feet in the air. So I instantly knew that this isn't good. This isn't good. We may not make this. You know, this ain't gonna be good.
Winds top 150 miles an hour as the furious tornado spins closer.
I was like, wow, this is unreal. I mean, nobody's ever been in a tornado this violent that I know of. In a Toyota pickup, nevertheless. All right, we lost our way.
It's too late to run. Randy and Lisa can only hold on.
There's a tornado right there.
Oh, there was a house! Oh my gosh!
Suddenly,
Oh my God.
the twister is right on top of them. The car windows are blown out in a shower of glass.
Hold on, Lisa. At that moment, I thought, you know, we're going to die here. We're not going to make it out of this one.
And then, the towering funnel begins to lift the pickup off the ground.
When the truck started to lift into the air, I had a vision in my mind of it twirling and tumbling and tumbling and twirling out into that field. You know, crushing, breaking, destroying. We're in the tornado!
Just as suddenly, the tornado drops the truck and thunders away.
There it is, right there in front of us.
It takes a moment for Randy to realize he's alive
It went right over us.
and he's beaten the beast from above.
Oh, yeah, who's your daddy? And it was just a primal thing. Look at that piece of debris! I mean, I'm caught in that moment. I'm hooping and hollering because I'm seeing the power of God right in front of my eyes.
Randy and Lisa look death in the eye. Yet this amateur storm chaser has no intention of giving up his dangerous hobby.
Oh, it could have been a lot worse. Like I said, it was the dumbest thing I ever did. And I don't recommend that anybody go where I go or do what I do. But, you know, that being said, some guys climb a mountain, and some guys throw a little chalk on their hands and run right to the top. I'm just that kind of guy.
Hold on, Lisa. Look at that piece of debris! Woo!
Coming up, a motorcycle daredevil misses the ramp and gets knocked out cold. Plus, 3 brothers are trapped in a deadly inferno, but rescuers can't get past the searing flames to save them. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
Mexico City, Mexico. American daredevil Travis Pastrana plays Roaring Bull in a converted bull ring. It's the final round in the X-Fighters motorsport competition. Travis is in a fight for first place. He'll do whatever it takes to win.
If you don't push the envelope and take risk, you're not going to be rewarded. You're not going to be on the podium. You're not going to win the big events. But, you know, if you do take the risks, you run a higher risk, obviously, of crashing out. And the risk to reward ratio, I would rather, go for the win and crash out than lose.
Travis gears up for the big jump in a tight space. He doesn't have enough speed or room to make it.
I realized I wasn't gonna make it far enough off the side. And I thought, no, I got this, I can save it. I always think I can save it. Unfortunately, maybe confidence is higher than ability level.
The bike's foot peg catches on the wall. Travis is launched off his bike. His head takes a terrible blow. He's knocked unconscious. The track announcer puts on a brave show to distract the shocked crowd. But then track workers bring out the black partitions to shield Travis from view. Some call them the partitions of death. But then, amazingly, Travis is up. And waving. No one knows. He has no memory of what's just happened.
I thought, oh, no problem, little short, I have it. Nope, straight over the bars, and that's pretty much the last thing I remember until I just heard this sound. I'm like, what is that noise? I'm just trying to sleep. It's like a couple seconds later, oh, that's me.
Travis gets back in the race. He continues to go for the highest jump. Though he knows the fall can be a killer.
You just never know with our sports and with life in general. You're always taking a gamble, and this is one of them, but it's worth it.
Wasco, California. A security camera records the street outside the Fiesta Latina market. A mother and her 2 daughters are about to enter the crosswalk. They're mowed down. The mom and her 2 girls, ages 12 and 4. It's a horrific sight. And then, the driver backs up to get away. A woman standing nearby tries to stop the car with her bare hands. The driver's already gone by the time store workers Jeanette Alanis and Atasso Bade rush outside.
The whole store was shook. I thought, I don't know if it was an earthquake. But when I got up to the front, I just saw blood all over the front of the store. One of the guys go and pick up the little girl, and that's when I noticed, oh my God, people got hit.
I just seen two little girls lying on the ground and their mom barely trying to get up. There was blood, there was blood. The lady had like a few cuts on her face, and one of the little girls had a broken leg, so you could see the bones sticking out.
The car brutally slams them into a corner of the building. Luckily, they're not pinned, but fall away from the car. Though they've broken bones, all three survive. The driver later turns herself in. She's 79 and doesn't have a license.
The reason why I think she hit the building was because she lost control of the car, and pretty sure she didn't mean to hit anyone, you know, especially children.
The woman gets off with probation. In this case, she's as lucky as the family she ran down.
They were lucky they went over the car. Like, yeah, I didn't think they were gonna be alive. I thought, you know, but thank God they're okay.
Mexico City. Fire burns through a high-rise apartment building. Smoke and heat trap many on their balconies, including Jose Hinojosa and his two little brothers. They're stuck on the 5th floor. The firefighters are miles away. Inside, police make their way through the halls. They do what they can with extinguishers and buckets. But fire's not their specialty. When they kick in an apartment door, it's a backdraft. It's getting desperate for the cops and for Jose and his little brothers. And then, a most welcome sound. The fire trucks are here. Police make way for the heroes. The firemen charge toward the 5th floor. A fireman emerges from the smoke. But the rescuer can only take 2 boys at once. Brave Jose hands off the little ones. They don't want to go without him. There's no choice. The fireman gets the boys downstairs. And into an ambulance. What about Jose? Another fireman carries him through the chaos outside. Jose insists on riding in the same ambulance as his brothers. They're together again and safe. In the end, no lives are lost. Thanks to incredible bravery by the police officers, firefighters, Jose, and his brothers.
Up next, a sprint car racer makes a daring dash for the lead, but gets hurled into a chain link fence. Then, homemade fireworks turn a trailer park into a blazing display of pyrotechnic terror. And any extreme skier breaks her neck when she plummets off a cliff, can she possibly survive the deadly fall? When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Squaw Valley, California. Darian Boyle is one of the best extreme skiers in the world, and today she's in top form.
It was a beautiful, glorious day, just crystal blue skies. They'd just done 4 feet of powder, but unfortunately there wasn't a lot of base.
It's a dangerous combination.
All day, every time I jumped off a cliff or straight line something, I'd hit a rock.
Darian is about to call it a day.
It's the last run of the day. On my way to get a beer, my buddies are like, come on, let's go up to the top. One more run. Famous last words.
She perches atop a treacherous cliff. She makes a jump turn to position herself. And then...
Oh my God! Oh.
The agonizing fall begins on the first turn of the run.
Right as I landed, because it's volcanic rock, it's really grabby. And it just literally stopped me, stopped my ski, and flicked me. I just felt my whole spine just crack. I remember just flipping over a cliff, and somehow landing on my back.
Darian knows right away she's not getting up from this one.
I remember sitting up trying to spit the snow out. I just went, oh my God, I broke my neck.
She can't move. She's also struck by the fear of brain damage.
I remember my helmet getting really, really tight. It's like brain swelling.
In minutes, Darian's on her way to a hospital. It's weeks before doctors know if she'll walk again.
And I remember coming out with this halo on. And they literally stick screws right here in your head. They were about this long. They look like daggers.
3 months later, Darian is free of the halo. She retires from competitive skiing with no regrets. She's just grateful that the last run of the day wasn't the last run of her life.
My doctors still say it's a miracle every day. There's no one as lucky as me. I dodged every single bullet there possibly was to dodge.
Town, Pennsylvania. Lap 4 of a sprint car race. These tiny sprint cars cut corners at 120 miles an hour. For one speed demon, that's too fast. Car number 8 comes out of a turn and clips another racer. It goes flying over the rail, right toward the stands. The sprint car shreds as it grinds over the rail. Spectators who have time to react run for their lives. Others can only hold their breath. The sprint car tears into a chain link fence. It's history, but the driver's intact. Lucky for everyone, that fence was installed just before the race. It proves to be the thin line between life and death. Boynton Beach, Florida. What once was a house is now a raging inferno. Belching explosions, threatening an entire neighborhood. Melvin Todd is right next door, one of the neighbors whose quiet night is thrown into chaos.
All of a sudden, just this big boom that just rocks the house. Kind of thing just rocks you to the core. That's when I saw, this fire, explosions and things going off.
Melvin grabs his video camera and runs toward the flames.
Just for a brief instant, something said, hey, don't go back there. And it was just this fear, this little chill that I had. The adrenaline is still just running through me, and I'm still shaking like a leaf.
He tries to remain calm while he shoots.
Yeah, you heard screaming, a lot of panic and chaos. People didn't know what's going on.
But the blazing compound seems to be shooting back. Rockets whistle and shrapnel flies. One blast knocks the camera out of Melvin's hands.
I've never felt anything like that before in my life. It's just incredible.
It takes firefighters all night to put out the blaze. By morning, the damage comes to light. They discover the neighbor was using his backyard as a fireworks factory. Luckily, no one is hurt. Melvin and his neighbors will never again take a quiet night for granted.
I can still hear the big low boom. I think the outcome from the explosion could have always been worse. Somebody could have been seriously injured, if not killed.
Coming up, the body count piles up when a woman's bike race comes to a bone-crushing stop. Then, a high-flying snowboarder sticks a hard landing on his face. And later, one man learns the hard way that if you play with fire, you will get burned.
Oh my God!
When the world's most amazing videos continues.
Sydney, Australia. The Oceania Women's Track Cycling Race. The racers cut it close as they try to edge ahead and take the lead. One racer goes down, then another, and then it's a pileup of twisted metal, bashed bones and bruises. 7 women tumble onto the hardwood track. 2 of them are tossed and slammed head first. A race official gets clipped and cut by a flying bike. Despite the carnage, the race goes on. Paramedics attend to the injured. Amazingly, no one seriously hurt. They'll compete again, knowing a tight race can easily erupt in disaster. San Antonio, Texas. Heavy rain sparked flash floods. That minivan is caught in an angry torrent with 2 people trapped inside. Rescuers fix a rope line as they lead a frightened woman out of the death trap.
Hold on, hold on!
Each step is a struggle. And then 2 rescuers are swept off their feet and into the guardrails. They're carried away, hurled off the road into the churning debris. They manage to grab hold of some tree limbs. The water's too wild to launch a rescue raft. They'll have to hold on till help arrives. Meanwhile, others save the driver from the van, and not a second too soon. Fortunately, everyone survives.
Don't let go!
But it's a terrifying reminder that nature's fury can strike in a flash.
Coming up, an extreme snowboarder catches air and drops on his head. Plus, a runaway felon steals a police car, but he's speeding toward a dead end. As the world's most amazing videos returns.
Mount Hood, California. Tyler Lopiccolo sets up for a stunt few snowboarders dare, the wall ride. He'll launch straight up that wall, turn in midair, and ride down another ramp. It's not what Tyler planned.
The second I left the lip, I knew it wasn't going to be good. And I tried to come up this lip, air out of this, and then come back in this lip right here. I was just trying to do a little 180 and then just come back in the same way I came out and grab my board. None of that happened.
Tyler smashes the beam, face first.
When I hit the pipe, it felt like I got hit in the face with a sledgehammer. It was a pretty bad accident. I thought my face was broken. I thought I actually lost some teeth.
You all right, bro?
You okay? Oh, yeah. Just the wind?
Incredibly, Tyler remains conscious.
I wish I would have got knocked out so it didn't hurt so bad, but I felt the whole thing.
Not cool.
Tyler's back on his board 3 days later. Grateful he survived the wall.
I think I'm very lucky. I thought a lot worse should have happened to me.
Bangkok, Thailand. A terrifying scene unfolds aboard a city bus. A wanted fugitive takes an innocent woman hostage at night point. She's a local school teacher, a mother, frightened for her life. A desperate outlaw makes outrageous demands. A jet, $2 million in cash, and a gun. A crowd of hundreds surround the bus while police try to reason with the man. Tense hours pass. Finally, they yield to one of his demands. The detective holds out a pistol. But the fugitive is suspicious. Cops want to exchange it for the knife. The suspect won't take the bait. Finally, he snatches the revolver. Minutes later, the man slips the knife in his back pocket. It's the break cops have been waiting for. closely. First, a detective opens the bus door. Before the suspect can close it, another cop reaches through a window and cracks him with a club. The gunman fires at point-blank range. But the pistol police gave him is loaded with blanks. The fugitive is wrestled to the ground. The angry crowd swarms him as cops lead him off the bus. Thanks to the ingenuity of officers, the hostage is safe. And the outlaw is headed back to jail. Marysville, Ohio. Police cars collide in a wild chase through a highway construction zone. It's hard to tell the good guys from the bad because this police car has been stolen. The real state troopers stay close behind. The car thief veers onto an off-ramp, coming up fast on a tanker loaded with fuel. Close call, but it doesn't slow him down. He blows through stop signs like he owns the road. The stolen police car rockets through town. Drivers try to get out of the way. They think it's a cop in an emergency. But the criminal's joyride is about to hit a dead end. The suspect blasts through an intersection. But there's a car blocking his lane. He swerves, but it's too late. Police surround the smashed cruiser.
Get on the ground!
The innocent driver is doubled over in pain. Thankfully, he'll be okay. The reckless suspect will get the chance to ride in another police car. This time, to jail. Farnham, England. It's bitter cold. So some friends decide to keep warm by lighting a barrel half full of gasoline. Are having trouble. So the oldest of the bunch tries to show them how it's done.
Oh my God!
Steve Dom is supervising the young teens.
What are you doing?
Surely that barrel's of some use.
What is the point? There's too much water.
It's his idea to use the barrel of gasoline as a campfire. It's a bad idea.
Oh my God!
It's a careless act on Steve's part.
Well, no, I'm not lighting.
Surely that barrel's of some use.
What is the point?
I think it was a bit irresponsible because he was trying to get my friends to light it and me to light it.
What is the point? There's too much water.
When the gasoline won't ignite, Steve foolishly leans his head into the barrel.
Oh my God!
The explosions hit him smack in the face.
It was such a big, explosion, really. The heat just came over all of us, and it's just really hot.
Let's see your face, man. Steve, you okay, mate?
The boys are terrified for Steve.
I thought, oh, this is bad. I didn't realise it was as bad as it was.
His face had gone, it looked really bad. It didn't look like him at all.
The man is so stunned, he runs away.
Let's see your face, man. Steve.
First I thought, oh no, he's properly, fried off his face.
The boys find Steve and rush him to a hospital.
Oh my God!
He suffered second-degree burns.
You all right, mate?
It's just common sense. I wouldn't have done that anyway. I wouldn't have stuck my head
in a barrel full of gasoline.
Oh my God! I don't think he knew really what he was doing.
He was trying to show off a bit in front of the camera, but yeah, sort of backfired, literally.
Oh my God!
These are the amazing stories of people caught in life and death situations who made it out alive. Join us next time for more of the world's most amazing videos.